You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Folks, Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There are things that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show for 16 years and going on 2,500 episodes has been sharing with you some of the most amazing stories, journeys, lessons of life, things that people have done with the cathartic moments and how they grew and changed for them. And they come on the show and they teach you how to maybe survive some of the things that you may have experienced as well, or get some perspective, or, just learn something new. That's what I always do every day on the show. I learn new things every time from our wonderful guests and different perspectives too. Sometimes there's a million different ways of looking at something, and sometimes you don't see it, and so you get that sort of experience. But in the meantime, we must get you and cajole you to go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Refer your family, friends, and relatives. Go to facebook.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Today we have an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking about his book, out July 18th, 2025, called Climbing the Hill by Amadou Camara. We're going to be getting into it with him on the show and finding out his interests and all that sort of good stuff. And as we talked to him about the show, he was born in Guinea, where his childhood was marked by trauma, hardship, and the kind of silence that often surrounds suffering. In a world where abuse was normalized and children's voices were rarely heard, he found himself lost my place here. He found himself he found himself that he could endure, but he also dreamed. His memoir, which is the book, is a testament to the strength it takes to survive when survival is not guaranteed, and to rise when the world teaches you to remain small. After arriving in the United States after winning the diversity visa lottery in 2013, he faced new challenges of foreign land, a new language, and the weight of starting over. With the same resilience that carried him through his childhood, he built his life from the ground up, rooted in purpose, healing, and hope. He now lives in Madison, Wisconsin with his wife and their miracle daughter. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Chris.
There you go. Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
People can find me on Instagram, climbing_the hill, or people can also find me on my website, which is Amadou Camara, author.com.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview of what's inside your book.
So Climbing the Hill is about the unseen wounds that we carry, the pain, the trauma, the hardship, but it's also about the power of self-transformation and self-belief. So, Chris, like you said, I was born into a place where dreams didn't have the luxury of being spoken out loud, but I carried one anyway, quietly. So I grew up in Guinea-Conakry, where trauma wasn't rare at all. So it was expected, but I've always saw something beyond the pain that I was going through growing up with constant family demands. And I endured 15 years of my life, working for my family while my fellow friends were just playing and laughing. I was only 7 years old when I started, doing things for my family. So, and that kind of pain for 15 years, it was very intense. But I was always climbing towards something that was greater, and I was looking for something to escape. So, then in 2011, I won the diversity lottery, which is crazy because I don't know if you're listening out there and you don't know about the diversity lottery, it's a US program, the government program that grants 100,000, that selects 100,000 people every year. And then 50,000 out of those people are granted a visa to come to the United States as a permanent resident and then later become a US citizen. So, and everybody can play out of billions of people, and I was selected.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
That's
that was
pretty
the
cool.
yeah, that was the opportunity that opened doors to me to come to America. And I came to America with zero English and $100 in my packet
$100. Wow.
and a small suitcase. But my head was full of dreams and aspirations. So
Uh-huh.
that's why I wrote the book.
There you go. I mean, and so when you're living in Guinea, what was life like that? What was the environment like? I know that some South African or African countries, there's a lot of wars and civil wars, and it seems like endless wars. What was it life like there?
When I was living in Guinea, Guinea didn't have wars at all. It's actually
Okay.
a peaceful country, but it's just the level of corruption, the poverty that people go through their day-to-day lives just to survive, just to be able to get food on the table.
Mhm.
That's the kind of hardship that people are dealing with back home.
Mhm.
And then people deal with issues of problems of getting water, for example, and that was my upbringing. Remember, like my upbringing in Guinea was the constant fight of getting water or electricity. So, growing up in Guinea, that was the hardest part.
Mhm. Yeah, trying to just get the basics, you
Yes,
know?
yes,
And probably safety and things along those lines, and everyone's probably competing for just the same basic fundamental, uh,
needs.
things to have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Food
Yeah.
and water, I mean,
Yeah.
basic things. And then so at what point do you decide to come to America, or you decide to apply to come to America, and why would you do that? What was the interest there?
Um, so, as a child, my mother left me in the hands of my grandmother when I was 2 years old, and she went up north when she
Mhm.
got remarried because I didn't know my father. My father passed away earlier in my life. So
Mhm.
then, from the age of 7 all the way to the age of 15, I was constantly doing household chores for my family. And when we experienced a water crisis in 2000, around year 2000, so me and my aunt, we would travel 2 miles to go get water. We live at the top of a hill. That's why the name of the book, Climbing the Hill. So we live at the top of a hill, which is a very steep hill. And we would go down the hill around 4 a.m., 5 p.m., 5 a.m., 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. We'll go down to get water. So,
Mhm.
and then the climb back up the hill, and then I had to carry these 20-liter bottles. And I was only 7 years old then.
Wow.
And then the pain that I experienced in my back was tremendous, was
Mhm.
was really hard. And then my feet felt like they were made out of lead,
Wow.
um, climbing back up.
Mhm.
So, and I experienced that for 15 years of my life with my family. So, because of that constant pain that I was experiencing, I was looking for opportunities that I didn't have then.
Mhm.
Until one day I heard one of my friends saying, "Oh, you can actually apply for the US diversity lottery,"
Hmm.
which there's no guarantee that you could win, but you can actually apply. So then I was like, okay, maybe this is an opportunity for me to apply and to go to America and study architecture because I've always wanted to study architecture. So that's the story.
There you go. So now, tell us about the architecture influence. Did this begin at an early age? Did you have an eye for it? How did that work out?
So for architecture, I wanted to become an architectural designer since I was in Guinea because I wanted to build something that I never had, which you mentioned here, safety, one of the
Mhm.
things, and then beauty and structure and vision, because the constant fight of surviving and to redefining myself and rebuilding myself was something that was really hard and difficult for me. So I envisioned a life where I am a designer and I'm going to rebuild my life, and but I'm also going to build structures as well. So that's where kind of like the architecture thing came from. And like, and then basically what I went through in my life, in my childhood experiences, it taught me that strong foundations are invisible,
Mm.
but they hold everything together, you know, just like um just like trust in one's power to achieve anything that you
Hmm.
set your mind into. So that's the idea, the core ideas that sparked interest in me to pursue architecture in order to redefine myself.
Hmm. There you go. And so, what made you want to come to America? What was your perception of America that somehow you would have a better life here?
Well, like back home, like we were seeing America on TV, like you see
Ah.
America on TV, you see the buildings, you see, especially like I used to watch this show called Gossip Girl. Exactly. So
Of
yeah,
all the things, yeah.
exactly.
There
So I
you go.
used to I used to watch a show called Gossip Girl, but it was in French because we don't speak English over there. We
Yeah.
speak French. So it was in French, but I always, saw Columbia University, and then I was like, oh wow, I would like to go to America and study architecture at Columbia. So,
Mm.
and then like we had this idea of America being like heaven for people,
Mm.
you know, and people don't understand when you come to America, you're gonna have to work harder,
Yeah.
even harder to succeed in this country.
Mhm.
So we don't know that. I didn't understand that
Mhm.
back then, but now I do.
Yeah.
So
It
yeah.
it's interesting. I never knew Gossip Girls would inspire the great American dream, but you probably see people on there living a life of opulence compared to
Hmm.
where you're living now. I mean,
Exactly.
they got water coming out faucets and stuff here, and that sort of innovative stuff.
Yeah.
Running toilets and a seemingly abundance, I would imagine,
Yeah.
is the perception there. So,
Yep.
yeah, definitely wild. So you come here, or did you come alone? Did you come with other family? Did you have family here you were coming to?
I came to America by myself, just me.
Hmm.
So when you win the diversity lottery as an individual, if you don't have a family, you are coming just by yourself. So I came to America. I landed in New York, New York, JFK,
Hmm.
and um, the first thing that I was shocked by, I landed here in November around the winter time.
Hmm.
So the first thing that I was shocked by was just the snow because I've never seen snow before. I've never experienced snow before, and that was shocking for me. And then the cultural difference as well. And then I saw a lot of people that I've never seen. I've never seen that many people before in my life, at the
Oh,
airport. So it was something that, you know, I, I, I I was afraid, but I was also excited at the same time about,
yeah.
about the future.
You've
So
got the beauty of opportunity and excitement
it's
of
just,
hope,
yep.
but there's danger and unknowns, and you're coming alone. What did your family think of letting you go, or what did was that hard to leave your family behind, or?
It was a little bit
Hmm.
harder to leave the family behind. Um, uh, but also because of the sort of pain that I experienced with my family, I was excited to leave my family
Hmm.
behind. And I
Yeah.
came to America with a level of anxiety as well,
Hmm.
because back home when I was selected for the diversity lottery to come to America, my mother had taken a loan, and she assumed that, and she told me that I would be responsible for paying the loan back
Oh.
when I come to America, without even knowing that whether you would have a job in America, will you, like, things like that. You don't speak the
Wow.
language, any of that thing. And I literally had to gamble on myself in order for me to come to America.
Yeah.
So it was a gamble. I gambled on my future because I didn't know what life would be like in America. So
Yeah.
the only thing that I had was just hope,
There you go.
hope and faith, hope that everything will be fine.
Yeah, and this is the beauty of the great American dream. People always came here. It's a melting pot. They came
Yeah.
here and brought their stuff. So you evidently you found your footing. Were there people here that were helpful to you and took you in and help you get work?
Yeah, when I first arrived and I landed in New York City, I had a sponsor because in order for you to come to America, you have to have a sponsor. So
Hmm.
I had a sponsor that took me in for a couple of days,
Hmm.
and that person, uh, it's painful to tell the story because when I arrived, that person received me, but the person was actually pushing me to find a job and contribute to his
Hmm.
rent. And my perspective, my point of view was I came to America, I have to go back to school and learn English and then be able to acclimate better and then be able to find a job later because how could you ask somebody to just 3 days after arriving to find a job, you don't speak the
You
language,
don't speak the language. That
you
kind
don't
of
speak the
helps. Yeah.
language at all. So that was, I talked about it in my book, how painful it was to just go around and looking for a job and without even knowing how to speak the language at all.
Yeah.
And the constant fight between me and my sponsor that I have to learn English. I went to Columbia University to register for ESL classes, English as a second language. And
Hmm.
soon as he found out, he told me that if I don't find a job, that he would kick me out. He would kick me out.
Wow.
And then now you don't have anybody,
Yeah. You're alone
nothing.
in the. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
crazy, dude.
yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. You think they would vet some of these people? They're supposed to be sponsors, but I mean, there's all sorts of interesting people in the world. But yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, it's one way to get your rent paid, I guess. But
um,
yeah, it's a little bit unfair. I mean, if you don't speak the language and you don't have a working, you're still trying to figure out what this America is all about, what's going on. You've come from this area that's desolate and
mhm.
resource weak, and you're trying to find your footing. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So
So
did you find a job, or how'd that work out?
um, so when people back then, people in my community, from people from Guinea, they had suggested that I go find a job to become a dishwasher. You know,
Mm,
but because of my background, the things that I talked in the book, w- the labor, the child abuse and the labor that I was doing back home was actually doing chores for my family as well. So I was drawn into cleaning my family's house, which is composed of 5 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and a kitchen and a living room and a bathroom. So I was forced to clean that for 15 years. So you are constantly doing chores and dealing with soapy water and like my clothes were always wet. And as I'm going to school, I cannot focus on the school material because my mind will always go back to getting water at 4 a.m. in the morning and then come back and then I don't even have time to eat breakfast. Then I
wow.
because I'm unloading all these heavy bottles, and then I have to clean the house, and then at 7 I have to go to school. And then Sundays were also days that I had to go to my mother's older sister to do laundry for her family. So her husband, her 3 children, and then my clothes, and then my grandmother's clothes. So I would start around like 8 a.m. and do laundry all the way until 5 to 6 p.m. And then I was always on my back on the washer board and washing the clothes. So when I came to America and people suggested for me to go and become a dishwasher, that was a fear in me because that's the past that I'm
Yeah.
trying to escape,
Escape,
because it
yeah.
was a constant reminder of the struggles that I faced in Guinea, and that's not what I wanted to be. And then I said, no, I'm gonna be an architect, and that's the path that I'm gonna take, no matter what,
Mm.
regardless of what's gonna happen. I will succeed, and I will achieve what I want to do.
There you go. So we want people to buy the book. So I can't tell all the story on the
Yes.
show, but
Oh, yes.
we want them to buy it and read it. But somewhere in there, you segue into learning the language, I guess, and then do you start going to maybe school for architecture and stuff?
Yes. I started going to school for architecture when, I, of course, I had to find a ways. I had to relocate. I have to change environment because New York was not working for me, so I left. But I started finding my way back to school when I actually took English as a second language at Georgia State University, which
Mm.
was Premier College back then in Atlanta. So I had to
Hmm.
go down to Atlanta and then try to redefine myself, find myself. So that's when I find ways to go back to school and
Hmm.
to study architecture.
There you go. And so you have this real attraction to architecture. What type of architecture do you tend to like?
Um, well, right now, like I do like healthcare
Mm.
architecture, and I do also like doing lab planning,
Mm.
science and technology. So
Okay.
that's what I'm doing right now because the idea of designing spaces that actually heal people, and
Yeah.
because that's my story,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good journey. You're healing people and dealing with all those issues. And then I imagine you find family along the way. We mentioned in the bio that you're married and probably children, maybe.
Yes, I find
Yeah.
my wife. She's very lovely, and yeah, she used to live in Arizona, so I found her later in life when I moved to Wisconsin. Her brother is a good friend of mine, and actually, which is really crazy because he has the same name and last name as me.
Hmm.
So that's how we connected and we bounded on that. So I met my wife. So I'm married. I have a daughter,
Hmm.
and we live here in Wisconsin, in Madison, Wisconsin.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so what do you hope people understand about when immigrants come to America? I
Mm.
mean, we're going through some interesting times here in 2025
Exactly.
recording this thing. And for my great grandfather came to America from Germany. I'm an immigrant too, technically, or a grandson of an immigrant. Um, and when he came here, he spoke pure German in the 1800s.
Yep.
He was invited by the Utah Mormons, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and but he stepped off the Union Pacific train
Uh,
in Salt Lake City, Utah. Didn't speak a lick of English, and thankfully, people were kind enough to take him in. And
yep.
these are the people who helped build this country and make it. What are your thoughts on why it's important to have immigrants coming to America and being part of this melting pot?
Yeah, Chris, thank you for asking that question because I wanted to actually talk about that because the book is so relevant on our current political environment right now because, like as we know, like when people come to this country, I'm just gonna throw a thought provoking out there.
Mhm.
So when people come to this country, they sometimes they say they don't work a lot, or they don't do these things, or they don't do that thing. Um, but one of the things, the reason why I also wrote the book is to actually help migrants see that it's actually possible to achieve whatever
Mhm.
you would like to do in this country. It is possible. It's absolutely possible. Me coming from a different background, a very challenging childhood experience where I was experiencing abuse and trauma and all that, and coming to America and being and without even speaking any English at all, and being able to achieve my dream and my goals, it's absolutely possible.
Mhm.
You know, and I want people also to understand that. And I want people also to understand that empathy is important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you have to understand someone's perspective without judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I had to master that to survive.
Mm-hmm.
People carry more than you can see,
That's
and
true.
they have been burned, silenced, and told that they are not enough already.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only understand that when you have experienced pain yourself, because then you become soft,
Mm-hmm.
because you have been exposed to sharpness for too long.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel empathy in your heart when you see someone struggling. And people who come to this country, they were already struggling, and they come in here for hope, for a better life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would really challenge people to understand, their perspective without any judgment at all. And if you are an immigrant and you're listening to this show, I want you also to understand that no hills are too high to climb if you have the determination to pursue your goals.
Ah, there you go. There
That's
you go.
that's what I want you to understand. And I would add on to that, because I said I'm going to throw a provocative thought out there for people to grasp with.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to ask people if you think that because I came to America through the diversity lottery and it opens up doors for me, and I use that opportunity to become a US citizen and to
Mm-hmm.
work and to contribute to the economy of this country. So I would like to ask people out there, do you think that the US diversity lottery is something that Congress should
Mm-hmm.
continues to do? Or do you think that the US diversity lottery is something that Congress should not do?
Mm.
But I would also challenge you before, read my book and understand and let me know.
Yeah. And they should have empathy for your journey. There's so many people that have come to America that have changed it in so many ways, and many of
Yes.
them are small and minute, but it's a rising tide that lifts all boats.
Hmm.
You look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was a child of an immigrant who came here
Hmm.
from Syria. Geez, if we'd never let Steve Jobs in the country, can you imagine what this world would be like? If an
Exactly,
iPhone
exactly.
had never been invented, and a lot of the media,
Hmm.
social media, all the great things that came out of kind of the democratization of that data,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely true.
may never have come to light, or at least not in the format that made it as successful as it did. I mean, it spawned so many industries and businesses and stuff. I can't imagine what this world would be like without it. We'd probably still be, I don't know, typing on Blackberries, I suppose. I don't know. Nokia
Absolutely
phones.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you.
And it made this country good. And immigrants work probably far harder, 2 or 3 times, maybe more than any normal American. We take, as Americans born here, we take a lot of this country for granted
Absolutely.
and its values for granted. And it seems like until we lose it, we're not going to really value it. But when immigrants come here, they have a dream, and they're coming from a place that is so awful, and they
Yeah.
don't want to bring that here. They want to
Hmm.
bask in being an American.
Yeah.
And studies show that America assimilates immigrants better than any other country. Like in France, they really have trouble. In other countries, they have trouble. People come here because they want to live the American dream. They
Hmm.
don't they don't want to live the Guinea dream.
Nope.
They want
Nope.
to live the American dream.
That
You know,
is
they
true.
want they want I don't know, they want baseball and
Hmm.
McDonald's, I guess, or something like that. Pick your thing. But
For
so how did things work out with your family in Guinea? Did they maybe eventually come here? Are they still there? How was it like being estranged from them?
Um, they're still there. Most of them are still there. So we just talk and communicate sometimes. Not all the time when I'm free. Over the weekend, sometimes I just check in and see how everybody's doing. But I do make trips back home sometimes just to kind of
Mhm.
like go and check, check on people and talk to people and reconnect with people, especially my friends and my grandmother. So
There
yeah,
you
so
go.
things are going great despite. everything that they put me through, but I also say thank you because I am the man. I am who I am today because of the life experiences that I've gotten along the way.
Yeah. I mean, these are the things that drive you. These are the things that motivate you. These are the things
Yeah,
that, we are all, our stories of our life and our trials and tribulations
yeah,
are the fabric of our life. They're the
exactly.
stories. I mean, we all kind of go through things that shape us throughout life, but you kind of sometimes you look at your life and you go, God, what would I be without some of those
Hmm.
trials and tribulations?
Very
Where
true.
would I be? And maybe you wouldn't be the same person. Maybe you'd be in a worse place. You never know.
Yeah,
So there's, sometimes you just have to go, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. And of course, beautifully, you wrote a book about it.
yeah.
Was it good to see? I mean, I don't know if your mother got to see your success and your family got to see your success and go, yeah, you made it. All right. Good job.
Um, my mother, she did indeed see my success. Yes,
Hmm.
she did,
There you
and
go.
my family, they're super proud. They're very proud, but um, they won't be so thrilled that I actually wrote the book.
Hmm.
Because the thing that they put me through is seen as normal in our culture. It's normal that you're supposed to do those things in order for you to get benedictions from your
Hmm.
elders. So that's the thing. Like, and then when I wrote this book, I actually broke the silence.
Yeah.
Because in my family, silence is survival.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but I had to break that silence for me and for any other children in the world that is experiencing child abuse and being silenced in general. And I also had to break the silence for many immigrants that are coming to this country and to show them the power of self-transformation, that
Hmm.
you can achieve anything that you would like to do in America.
Hmm.
You can. Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah. What a great story, man. What a great story. And I'm not a big fan of what's going on right now in 2025. I don't think a lot of Americans are.
Mm,
I think we're seeing the abuse of the system, and it's really sad that people use immigrants and immigration as,
mhm.
and this has been going on for zillions of years, eons of
Yeah,
time in humanity, where politicians will always blame it's that other person, the immigrant, it's the minority, it's that other person who's taking your jobs, that of course Americans don't want to do, which is
yeah,
ironic. And even what's interesting to me is I've talked to this. I've had guests on the show that came from Mexico,
hmm,
and they have this closed door mentality, behind the close the door behind the mentality, they call it.
hmm.
And so they'll come to America and find success, but then they become American and they're like, yeah, we shouldn't have immigrants come here anymore. I know I did,
Mm,
but they're still coming and stealing our jobs. And you're like,
yeah,
the jobs you guys don't want to do and the
yeah,
work you don't want to do. Like, come on, man.
yeah,
Uh, and when you really study population, I mean, years and years ago, we had a gentleman on the show. He wrote a book about how America needs to kind of compete better with China by getting 1 billion people in it. That's
yeah,
what made America great, was the melting pot. And
yeah,
you've noticed since we've kind of curtailed that melting pot, America is not doing too well.
mm, no,
And yet still, politicians are taking advantage of turning
yeah,
immigrants into straw men.
yeah,
And it's sad. It
it is
frustrates me because this is the oldest politician trick known to man. I mean,
yeah,
it's been going back towards Greece and Socrates and early steps of man. You think that by now, human beings would be like, we see what you're doing there, Mr. Politician. See what you're
mhm,
up to.
yeah,
Yeah, your little tricky dick doesn't work over here.
yep,
And there were probably times where that wasn't true. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah.
I do have a follow-up comment on that, Chris, what you just mentioned, if you
Mhm.
allow me.
Please do.
So, um, looking at my story, my life story, right? Like how I came to America, how I got the diversity lottery, opened up the doors, and I came to America with only $100 and zero English at all. Like zero English. Like you and I would not be talking right now back in 2013, and it's not even that long ago, right? 2013, you and I would not have that conversation at all. And the fact that I started from nothing. I came to this country with nothing, started from nothing, and worked my way all the way to now working for one of the top architectural companies in the US. You know? So, and then for somebody who is a native born citizen in America, already speaks the language, for you to say that me, who came from a whole different background, whole different country, with zero English, come to this country and work to achieve things in my life, and then you are here, born and raised, and went to school here, know already the language, and for you to say that I'm stealing your job, I don't think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Because we all have the power. We, you are the architect of your own life.
Yeah.
You make the decision. You are Congress of your own life.
Mm.
You are responsible for deciding the policies in your life, where you want your life to be, and what you would like to do in your life. So, so it's not fair for you to sit down and just say that, oh, this person or that person is stealing my job, when that person finds you here. You already had an advantage, which you speak the language, you're born here, you went to school here, you know the system, and that person really had to redefine their identity. They had to redefine, find a way, who do I want to be in this country? So that alone, people should understand that, I think.
Most definitely. And you have to think from an abundance mindset that when people come here, they're going to contribute and lift.
Yeah.
You can't think of scarcity, because if you think of scarcity, everything shrinks
That's true.
and fails.
Mhm.
And that's what this country was built on, was abundance. It's like, hey, there's so much land here that's still undeveloped. There's so much opportunity.
Mhm.
And that's what America was always sold, was the land of opportunity.
Opportunities.
That you
Yes.
could come here, you could make something, you could contribute, you could donate, and everything
Yeah.
else. But like I said, with the politicians, it's really time we see through the evilness of their nature.
True.
And no, I'm not throwing all politicians on the bus, because we've had some good guys on the show. But anytime one of those politicians is pulling those trick bags where they're like, oh, that other person's the problem, it's not.
Mm,
And 99% of the time, it's politicians and the laws they pass that are causing the problems we're having. So there you go.
yeah.
So Amadou, as we go out, tell people where they can pick up your book, where they can get to know you better on your .coms, et cetera, et cetera.
Climbing the Hill. The book is available everywhere. It's available on Amazon. It's available at Barnes and Nobles, even at Walmart, and it's also available at bookshops.org. And if you are out there and chasing a better version of yourself, I'm right there with you. You can find me on my social media account on Instagram, climbing_the hill, or you can shoot me an email on my website, AmadouCamaraAuthor.com. But
There you
I
go.
don't know if they know how to spell Amadou Camara though.
There'll be a link on the Chris Voss show if you
Oh,
want to.
okay, thank you.
It's
Uh,
spelled Amadou. Camara, Camara. There you go.
yeah,
So there'll be a link on the Chris Voss show. You can link to that. And of course, check out his book, Climbing the Hill, out July 18th, 2025. Thank you very much for being on the show with us. We really appreciate it.
no problem. Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate it too.
Thank you. And thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss won the TikTokity and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next